Hi, I'm Karen Thaxton with Live the Pickleball Life. I have had issues for years with stuffiness and sniffling. There were times in past years where I would sniff every 10 or 15 seconds all day long. And it was so annoying to me, and I'm sure it was annoying to all the other people who were around me all the time, but I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I took Allegra and other allergy medications for a few years, and they helped a little, but not as much as I wanted. And of course, all that stuff drains down, and I would end up on the pickleball court breathing through my mouth, which makes my lips dry and my throat dry, and it just wasn't fun at all. So I wanted to show you what I found. You may have seen these on TV. It's akin to a neti pot. And you may have used a neti pot before. This is a very simple plastic version. You put the water in and the saline packet in, and one end goes in your nose and it just sort of gently runs through your sinuses. Never really had a whole lot of luck or success with neti pots. And then I found a Navage. Have you ever seen one of these on TV? This I love, and it's sort of like a motorized neti pot. You may not realize, but you have sinus cavities all over probably the top 2/3 of your head. And a neti pot, because the water's just trickling out, doesn't get in all the places it needs to get in, and it doesn't do a whole lot to, let's see, extract what you don't want from your nasal cavities. How about if we put it that way? So the Navage has a little bit of gentle suction to it. And the way I think about it is, if I were going to clean this top, I could put it in my sink with a little bit of laundry detergent and maybe just gently swish it around a time or two and walk off and leave it, and it would come somewhat clean. But to get it really clean and to do the best job, I need to put it in the washing machine, and you get the little gentle agitation going, and there's soap in there, and that motion, that little bit of power is what really does the job. And the washing machine isn't, it's called an agitator, but it doesn't get agitated. It isn't tearing up my clothes. And that's the same with this. It's very gentle suction, just enough to pull the water through and pull out the allergens and the other stuff that you don't want up in your head that's dripping down, clogging up your ears, making your ears feel tight and a lot of pressure and dripping down your throat. And it really helps to clean all that out if it's used on a regular basis. I used to use mine from about mid-October until mid or end of April every year. This year, for some reason, there's something out there in my area of the world that's just tearing me up. So I have been using my Navage all summer long so far. And it does a great job. It doesn't get rid of everything with me. It might with you. With me, it clears up probably 85% of it, which is way better than Allegra. And it's certainly better than the neti pot ever dreamed of being. So let me walk you through a demo and show you what to do. When I do this start to finish, it doesn't take me but 5 minutes or less. It's going to take longer this time because I'm stopping to explain what I'm doing. So let's get a move on and see how this goes. It holds 1 cup of water, and I like to heat mine in my microwave for about 12 or 13 seconds. You should test and see how warm or how cold you want. I wouldn't recommend putting it straight out of the bottle and using it, or straight out of your reverse osmosis tap and using it, because that's going to be pretty cold. But you do what's right for you. What I do suggest is, if you heat it up in the microwave, you take your clean finger and stick it in the water and test it to be sure you didn't get it too hot before you shoot it up your nose, because that would be horrible. You don't want to do that. So with my water warm, I take the Navage. Let me pull this apart a little bit so you can see how it does, and I'll put it back together for you. You get the container that holds what comes out. This is the motorized unit, and this is where you'll put the salt pod. This is the top container where your reverse osmosis or distilled water will go. And this is called the nasal dock. And these are nose pillows. So we're going to put it all together. You'll put the motorized unit and the reservoir, I think they call it, and click it together. You should hear it click really loudly to know that it's closed up so it won't leak. I put this on top, kind of sideways. You see it's a little bit off center, and click it together. It won't be quite as loud. Then I take the nasal dock, and you can, I don't know if you'll be able to see here, but there are embossed arrows on either side, and that tells you which way the water's going in and which way the water's going out. You can test it and see which way you like it. And then there are these really soft rubberized nose pillows that slide onto the tip of the nasal dock, and that just slides gently in to the front, and you just push it. It doesn't take any effort at all. We will add the water. I've already heated my water. It holds 1 cup, so I keep my 1 cup measuring cup there, and then you'll take one of the salt pods, pre-measured. You flip it upside down with the foil side down and put it in, and you'll click it down until you hear a loud snap. Okay, then it's set, and you'll see on the front of it, on the top of it, I don't know if I can tilt it over enough for you to read it, that it says no salt pod, no power. So if you don't put a salt pod in it, it won't work. There's a power button on the side. So I'm going to stand over my sink. I need to have tissues ready for when I'm done. And I'll press and hold the power button and keep my mouth open the entire time. 1 nose pillow will go in each nostril. So mouth open, button pressed the whole time until it's finished running through all the water. So I'm dumping out the reservoir that's on the bottom. That's where everything came out. And if you want to, you can look in there and see what's come out. A lot of times it'll be allergens or irritants that are invisible to the eye, but you'll see other stuff as well. And then I start to take apart the Navage and just lay it off to the side. And I have my head tilted sideways in case something needs to drip out, some water needs to drip out. And I'll take a tissue and blow. And then toss the tissue and the salt pod container. Then we have to clean everything up. I'll run the top portion, and there's a little red note in there that says rinse before and after use. So I'm going to run that through my reverse osmosis fountain. Everything I'm using to clean this is reverse osmosis water. This is mixed distilled vinegar. I do 3 parts water, 1 part distilled vinegar, and mix it in a bottle so it's ready to go. I've done as much as 50-50. You can play around with it and see what you want to do. The vinegar has disinfecting properties, so it helps to keep it clean, and it's also safe to use in this way. And the way I like to clean it is to take that bottom reservoir and pour just enough to cover the nasal dock, and the nose pillows. And I take those apart and stick them in, and I'll swish them around a little bit. You'll also get this permanent little Q-tip type of thing with a rubber tip. So I'll move the nasal dock around to make sure the water gets in there and the nose pillows and whatnot, and then I'll let that sit while I do the rest. And I take the wet Q-tip, and there's a hole in the front of it, and I dip it again, and I put it on the hole on the bottom. That's where the water's been coming through from the front to the bottom and whatnot. Then I set it on the caddy, and if you decide to get one, I strongly recommend that you get the caddy. It makes things so much easier, especially when they're drying. You have all the pieces together. You don't have them on a towel scattered all around your countertop. This is ready to go. I just let it sit for a few seconds. So I'll pour part of that vinegar water into this top section and then just give it a little swish. There was only clean water in there anyway, but I am picky about keeping this clean. And I'll shake off the nasal dock and the nose pillows and shake out the bottom section. The bottom section sits conveniently right there. These I put in the back where the salt pods are stored. And then this, if I close the top, I can turn it sideways and let it sit, and then open that back up so air can get in through this hole. And it all sits right here together and dries, and I sit it up in the cabinet beside my kitchen sink. Close up this. You may have to blow your nose another time after you use it, which is what I'm going to do now. And you may also feel popping in your ears, especially if you're new to doing it. And if that happens, you can just swallow, or it'll pop on its own eventually. I don't usually have that issue now because I've been using it for so long, but it really does a great job with everything that I've needed it to do so far. I do need to tell you that this is a product that I received in order to demo it. How many years ago? I think I said 3 or 4 years ago. So I did not pay for this unit. If you use my link below, I will get a credit in their store. So you also need to know that this is a paid promotion video. I hope you have found it helpful. If you have any questions about the Navage, please let me know. Just ask them below. I'll also leave my link and the directions on how to get the coupon code so that you can save when you buy a Navage direct from the manufacturer. This is Karen Thaxton with Live the Pickleball Life. Stay healthy out there this week.